Hello and welcome back to the Canary Chat channel. I'm filming this just after deadline day. It's been a very busy deadline day for Norwich, but it's also been a very busy transfer window in general for the Canaries. So this video is just going to go over the incomings, the outgoings, roughly how we're rating this transfer window in general. So yeah, let's get into it. So starting with the outgoings, so got a list here of all the incomings and outgoings. Start off with Kate Gordon. Unfortunately, loan didn't work out. Very talented player. He did show on occasions. He was a big part of that Coventry comeback with getting the players back into position. Showed glimpses, but unfortunately didn't work out. He has now gone to Pompey on loan, I believe. So all the best, Cade, but unfortunately that was just a loan that didn't really ever feel like that was going anywhere. Next we have Archie Mayer, so a few loan outgoings now. So Archie Mayer's gone to Motherwell to get a bit more experience, get a bit more first team action, and that's going for the same as well for Brad Hills, who's gone to Stockport, who are in kind of a promotion chase. So I think that'll be a really good experience for Brad Hills. One of my predictions at the start of the season was he would be in the top 3 players of the season. I was very wrong there, but at the end of the day, we can't get them all right. But yeah, I really hope Brad Hills can really kick on. I think with kind of Duffy getting older, Cordoba's maybe a little bit injury prone, and expecting Doyle to go back to Man City, Hills could have a really big part to play next year, but I do think it's important for him to get that experience in regards to first team experience. He hasn't played loads, played a couple of cup games. It's really hard to get a gauge of how players will be without giving them enough game time. So I think Stockport's a really good move for him. So I'm excited to see what he does, see what he comes back with. In regards to other outgoings, we have Jaden Warner. He has now left the club. He's had impressive cameos here and there, never given a chance. So he drops down to League Two to get that first team action. I think he said in kind of his leaving statement that Norwich have done a lot for him, but in regards to the game time he's getting, a decision needs to be made. It's completely understandable that he's looking to get more game time. So we wish kind of Warner all the best in the future. I'm sure he'll nail it, and I wouldn't be too surprised if we see him slowly climbing back up the leagues in the near future. We now have the 3 biggest outgoings that we had in this window. So starting off with Fashnat, I believe he was the first one to go, has returned to Young Boys, and I think is around about 25k off the wage bill that we've saved there. See, he's done interviews with Chris Reeve about how he wasn't too happy with the style of football that has been played under Wagner, and that he wasn't allowed to push on as much as possible. And then I think since Thorup came into the kind of frame, that he was never kind of going to be that first pick or first name on the team sheet, and he was very rarely coming on as a sub. So it does really make sense for him to return. I mean, Young Boys do have European football, so it seemed a no-brainer for him to go back, really, and return to his old club. We then have Ashley Barnes, talking of return to old club, has returned to Burnley. Again, another, I think, around 35k saved on the wage bill. You can really see like a theme with these outgoings as we go on. The older, more experienced, but also higher wage players starting to move out of the team, and then as you'll see, being replaced by those younger talents. But yeah, Ash Barnes has returned to Burnley. I think maybe it just works. Scott Parker does like to play a certain brand of football, which Ashley Barnes would lean into. But again, he's given us some good memories. He was always a really good professional, and he was a good character, especially in Derby days. So it would be a little bit of a shame to see him go, but it is necessary to kind of build on this approach that we're looking to go with that younger philosophy, bringing in youth players, growing and kind of playing out from the back, not hitting it long, things such as that. And then lastly, we have Grant Hanley, who has gone to Birmingham. Again, I think he might have been on 40k, he might have been our highest paid player. 40k is a lot to save in the Championship, and that can get us a lot of free up a lot of youngsters to bring in with wages around that 10 to 20k mark. But yeah, Grant Hanley, club captain, has given us years of service. Unbelievable player in times. I think we'll all remember the run that he did for that Ipswich goal for Closer to Score and that superb cross. But yeah, he's been a stonewall in defence. admittedly sometimes struggled playing out from the back, but he always gave 100%. And I think, yeah, it is a little shame he didn't really get to say a proper goodbye. But yeah, he'll do really well at Birmingham, and I really wouldn't be too surprised to see him back at the Championship next year. So that is the outgoings done. We've now got the transfers into the club that we were surprisingly busy. I don't think anyone expected us to make this many transfers, but they all follow a very kind of obvious theme. But we've also strengthened in positions that I think we've been calling out for a while. So we'll start with Lewis Dobbin, signed from Villa. He was on loan at West Brom. They recalled him, sent him back. West Brom fans seemed relatively happy with that, but I think since he's come in, he's been bright, he's been forward thinking, and I think that Mahovo Dobbin link down that left hand side has already started to look quite strong. We know Science has been suspended. We know Science will be coming back into the fold, and realistically, he will be starting. But I do think Dobbins looked really sharp, and I think he'll be a really good weapon to use off the bench. So, looking forward to see how he goes on. It is a loan, no option to buy. Villa only bought him, I believe, for 10 million from Everton this transfer window. It did seem a little bit dodgy, allegedly, around those transfers going between Villa and Everton. I think he might have got caught up in that. But yeah, I think we've kind of come out of this with the better deal, in my opinion. And if he can carry on improving the way that Thorpe improves young players, I think we've got a really big talent on our hands for the rest of the season. We also then had Slimani, that we made his loan permanent. Again, another one where Sheffield United fans seem very happy to get rid of him at the start of the year. I think he's been unbelievable. I can't believe we're picking him up for about, I think it's 1.4 million or around that figure. To get a international, I think he's 23 footballer for 1.4 million. I think he's improved the team. He's definitely improved the squad. I think that Nunes, McLean, Slimani link up was really positive at the start of the season. So I'm really excited to see, hopefully, when he comes back, that he can get a run of games or a run of bench appearances to really kind of cement that position and that claim down. But yeah, really happy with the Slimani deal, and I think it was an obvious bit of business. I'm glad we got that done before the summer. We then have Jursic from Slavia Prague, the statement signing, just under 6 million, I think about 5.8 million. Right winger, wand of a left foot. Everyone's seen those montages. Been having to train out at Slavia Prague, or out in Prague, should I say, for the last couple of weeks due to work permit issues. But I believe we've kind of moved Cordoba's permit around now that he's been here and Fashnat's gone. We've kind of moved Cordoba into Fashnat's position, and Jurisic is going to be taking Cordoba's position in regards to work permit wise. So that's really positive. He is available for the Derby game. Whether he starts, it's debatable. We've seen the videos of him training on his own out there, and obviously that's not the same as getting kind of match speed ready. But there's a potential that he could come into the fold or at least off the bench. And yeah, I think it's really exciting having him, Fortal, Cernat, that can all play that right wing position. You've also got Hernandez off the bench that could do that as well. We're clearly identifying that we need to bolster and strengthen our attacking mindset. But we are doing that in a way which we are looking to recruit young players. And I think out of all the players minus Slimani, because we already had him here, was about just over 20 was the average age. So we're really making statements in the approach that we're looking to take, considering our outgoings in regards to Hanley, Fashnat, Barnes was an average age of about 32. So we're really kind of hammering home that we're changing the philosophy that we have with Webber. Napper's come in, he's identified our weak spots, he's identified that we had an ageing squad, he's changing that. Speaking of ageing squad, we then got two more further youngsters. This was deadline day as well. So we've got Rory McInville, sorry if I butchered the pronunciation on that, young Brighton centre-back, Northern Ireland international already. I believe he's only played one game of for Brighton, and that was against us in the FA Cup. But I think looks a very shrewd bit of business, just over 1 million, going up to just over 2.5, I believe. I think, as I mentioned earlier, Duffy getting older, Cordoba getting a little bit injury prone. Doyle realistically going back to Man City, Hill's off on loan. We needed to fill that kind of Hill spot, and I think a 19-year-old who's already an international, he's clearly going to be hungry to make more appearances to cement that international place down. I think it was a no-brainer that you can pick him up for £1 million odd. It's feels very little risk in that position. So really happy with that. A little bit of an unknown, so it sounds weird saying you're really happy with it, but from the clips you've seen and the recruitment we've already done with Napa and Thorup, I think you've just got to back it and know that it should come good eventually. And then the final signing that didn't get announced until about 10 to 1 in the morning, I think it was Jacob Wright from Man City, defensive midfielder. His interviews, he seems very confident, very assured in his abilities, which is really good to see. We've been screaming out for a defensive midfielder for years since Tetty's left. He said he likes a challenge, he likes having the ball in pressure positions, and he likes a pass, which is everything that we want from a defensive midfielder, really. I don't think Thorup or Napa would have gone out just for a destroyer, because they need someone that can pass and progress the ball forwards. But it does hopefully seem like we've got the best of both worlds there. It is a loan with an option to buy, which is reportedly 5 million, but Pinkin have come out and said they believe it is lower than that. So I think there's a real opportunity that if he kicks on, we could have got ourselves a steal. But I think this also highlights around that with the new owners in Anastasios, that we're not always going to have to sell. We've done 5 million potentially on Wright. We've done just over 5 million on Jurisic, a couple of million with Slimani and Rory, the new centre back. Like we're willing to spend money. Whether that carries on in the summer, I imagine it will. But I don't think we're always going to have to sell. We're going to have that road money coming in the summer as well. But that's a different story. We may get more road money if Marseille decide to sell him. But yeah, it's been a very strong transfer window. I'd rate it kind of 9 out of 10. I don't think there was much more that we could have done. Maybe a new number 2 goalkeeper. But apart from that, we've ticked off all the boxes that we need. We've got the attacking outlets, Dobbin, Jurisic. We've got that CDM, bolster that midfield and right, and then we've got that backup centre back as well. So I think we've done a very good job. Leave a comment down below in regards to who you are most excited to see, who you think is maybe the best signing out of all of those. Make sure you like and comment as well, because we're doing match day vlogs as usual. Got the podcast coming back up, and little kind of ad hoc videos like this in regards to what's going on at the club. So yeah, we'll see you next time. See you in the next vlog, which is Derby, and I'll be vlogging that. So see you then. Enjoy your evening, and yeah, make sure to like and subscribe.